Okay, at this time we will open new business. As I noted, there was one resolution published in the Call to Convention in January-February 2025 issue of Direction, which requires action by the membership. The resolution is to update the program policy statement. This resolution is submitted to the membership by the Board of Governors in its entirety as it was sent to the entire membership for discussion. There was a period for online feedback from the membership. The feedback can be viewed on the CALLERLAB website. See the registration desk if you have any questions. Like right now, they should. All right. Debs? I couldn't tell what that was. All right, sorry. Debbie Cedar, parliamentarian, will read the resolution into the record. All yours, Debbie.
Resolution to amend the CALLERLAB program policy. The following resolution is submitted by the Board of Governors for consideration by the CALLERLAB membership. Whereas it is CALLERLAB's objective to establish and maintain modern Western square dance programs, and whereas current entry-level programs overly fracture the dancing population, and whereas a standardized worldwide entry program is both beneficial for the entire activity and future caller training, and whereas from a call count perspective, CALLERLAB acknowledges that call families have existed since the inception of the first lists, and whereas the program following the entry level should be of equal or larger size, therefore, the Board of Governors approves moving the following resolution forward for consideration by the CALLERLAB membership. Be it resolved that the program policy statement be revised as presented to the membership in draft E.
Okay. So I'll go over everything. I know Teresa already did this on Monday morning with the morning meeting for you, but just so we're all on the same page. As a reminder, there was an online resolution feedback. We extended it from 1 week last year to 2 weeks this year, giving everybody an opportunity to go out there up to 1,500 characters and put out what they wanted. We had 76 people take on advantage of that, and it was about 13% of the membership. I'm assuming at this time most of you have made up your mind. It's been a year. However, the way this works, we're going to have the pro side of the mic over to my left, con side of the mic over to my right. As Teresa had mentioned on Monday, we're going to limit the time to 1 minute on the microphone. If you choose to use it, you do not have to. Again, please realize most of the room has probably already decided one way or the other. You're talking to, I guess, what we consider the undecided voters. Those that are going to make up their mind in the next however long it is. If you feel your point has already been made sufficiently, please be respectful of everyone's time. But again, you can all, every single voting member, if you would like to, get up and speak at that microphone. So, I think that is it. So again, we will have the pro mic over there, we will have the con mic over there. You can form a line down the wall if that's necessary for you to do that. And we will get started. Are you ready? Oh, is there any discussion about that? You think this is easy? I'm supposed to say, is there any discussion? And that evidently starts this, not let's go. Okay, I've got my stopwatch. Again, I'm not going to go too crazy, but for the sake of everybody, please try to keep it within the time. Mary, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Mary Jingle in Sunnyvale, California. The proposal is a well-intentioned but poorly conceived attempt to provide for the future of square dancing. With SSD in place, we already have an entry-level list of about 50 calls. Let's give SSD a chance to work. It's already being used as an entry program in California, and from what I've heard from other callers here this week, in other areas as well. Mainstream callers, beware. If the proposal passes and is implemented, mainstream as you know it will cease to exist. You will lose about 15 calls. This change could significantly affect your site calling, your modules, other written material you may have, and your singing calls. If this is not what you want, if this is not what you think your dancers want, or if you have further questions or concerns, I urge you to vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary. Mr. Seaster.
We have the best social recreation on the planet, and we have a golden opportunity to universally create a program that we can start more than once a year. And if you're starting your new dancer program only once a year, you need to seriously consider that this proposal is our opportunity to grow the activity for the future. We need to open up our doors more than once a year. As Ted pointed out last night, no matter how this vote goes, we need to support the decisions of the majority, hang in here, and keep the work of CALLERLAB going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Dave.
Take care of Seattle area. I want to just add that with the basic mainstream program that we have right now, I can, in one weekend, teach people to get to basic 1, and there is a destination program for them. With your proposal, I've got to teach for 15 weeks before I get them to a destination program. And it seems to me like that's kind of on the wrong side of progression. It seems like we want to get people into this activity as fast as we can and provide a program for them as fast as possible. And I don't see that with this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Belkin in the Maryland area. I'm very much in favor of this proposal. This is a proposal that's going to create change. A lot of people don't like change. It's going to be uncomfortable for some people. Some of our dancers may get mad at us. That's never happened before. But this change has the potential for us to reverse the trend of losing dancers. I would like it to happen before I'm the only dancer in the hall. This will give us more people. It'll give us double the number in a fairly small window when you look at dancing from the 60s to now. That's our downhill trend. In 3-5 years, we're going to see doubling, at least. So I'm very much in favor of this.
Thank you, Gary. Jim.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Jim Wass from Gary's area of Maryland. I rise squarely in the middle on this one. Back in 1995, the program proposal to split 50-50 didn't seem to have anything outside of that one premise, fixing the lists. The 1999 T2000, we went 113-113 because once again, we didn't believe you, not you individually, but the you who were pushing that change. This time, I could debate every single one of the whereases, and if we send that out and draft to the membership, maybe that's going to be the result of this, but it presents the various things that we may need to consider as we try to implement something like that, including growing callers. And I think I'm out. So once again, I urge everybody to think of this. Have they given us enough promise of a strategic approach to this over the next few years to make it happen? Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Bear.
My name is Bear Miller, Denver, Colorado, and I look at it, we're here celebrating 50 years of our organization. And when we first started, there was a lot of controversy, there was a lot of things, and there was a lot of passion. And I look in this room and I see passion on both sides of this whole thing, but I'm also looking at the fact that we're tending to get better at listening to each other and paying attention and at least having the courtesy to be able to listen to both sides and make your own decisions. But I am truly in favor of this. I think we needed to change as we go. We need to progress with the life. So anyway, thank you for your time, and I'm truly positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. John?
John Harden, Caledonia, Illinois. In our area, we use basically this, the way the proposal is put out as we use SSD and when people move to Plus. I want to give you one more thing to think about, and that's attrition rate in your classes. In the last, I would say, 10 SSD classes I've run, I think over 10 classes I've maybe had 2 or 3 students drop out. What is the attrition rate in our current lesson programs when you do the full lessons? Consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Tony?
Doesn't look anything like I thought it would look. Nobody's fighting, which is good. Sumter, South Carolina, Florence, South Carolina, Conway, South Carolina, St. George, South Carolina, Walterboro, South Carolina, Hartsville, South Carolina, Lancaster, South Carolina, Chester, South Carolina, Pageland, South Carolina, Manning, South Carolina, Clinton, South Carolina, Newberry, South Carolina, Greer, South Carolina, Hardyville, South Carolina. All had bustling clubs prior to 2000. Now there are 0 clubs in any of those cities. South Carolina is not a very big state. To have that many cities, blues clubs, something is wrong. I speak in favor of this proposal because it gets us off of center. I don't know if the proposal is right, but I do know that what we've been doing is wrong. That being said, I will support, and I urge you to support, whatever the decision of this body makes. I speak in favor of the proposition. If we vote the proposition down, I will support that as well. I urge you to do the same.
Thank you, Tony. Jack?
Good morning, everybody. I'm in favor of the proposition. I am in favor of supporting whatever the vote becomes, yes or no. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We can't keep doing that, guys. We just can't keep doing it. We need to move forward. I was never, and I'm very honest about this, I was never in favor of voting in SSD. Not because of the proposition or the reasoning behind the SSD, because I didn't want to see competing levels, competing in programs that started our activity. We need a standardized program of 1 mainstream, 1 plus, 1 advanced. I'm in favor of this proposition. It's the only way this activity can go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Patty?
I echo Tony and Jack's sentiments. I look around in North Carolina, and I'm sure all of you can look around your states and see clubs that are no longer there. The Charlotte area, we used to have a bunch of bustling clubs, and now there are 1, 2, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 4. There will be changes, and change is painful, as we've said. But we're going to have to work through them. You know, the founding fathers worked through them. I'm sure there was a lot of gnashing of teeth and when they set up the list initially. And it's time for a change. And this is one way that we can get the big picture changed. If you want to work on what it looks like at the end of the day, then I urge you to join a committee and make your voice known immediately if this passes in a positive way. If you don't care, or not care isn't the right word, please support whatever the majority goes with. And if you do care and you want to have a say, I know everybody's arguing about the minutiae, join a committee, be active, and let your voice be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Sean?
Shauna Carey, of course I'm here to speak in favor of the proposal. I want to just remind a couple of things. Ted has kind of been the face of this proposal, and he's done a great job getting the word out about what it is. But in fact, this came from the Board of Governors, and the Board of Governors voted unanimously for this. And you can imagine with a group of people find a unanimous vote. It's not, it's almost unheard of. And yet we all got behind it. And my husband, who was here, I told a story last year about a dance he had gone to. It was a new dancer's hoedown, like a halfway dance. And the clubs in an area, one was doing Club 50 at the time, another caller was teaching kind of their list that was gonna get them to a certain place, and another one was doing the standard. And he got there and he had a group of halfway dancers, and nobody knew what that was, and he didn't know what to call. And a 40-year plus experienced caller, imagine if that had been a newer caller, what would they have had to do? And when he saw the first video that took those multiple lists and combined it into two, he told me, I'm going to give Ted a kiss on the forehead. And that just reminded me, KISS is the right thing here. We need to keep it simple. Stupid. There's another one. Keep it simple. It's not about what the list is. It's about the one entry point everywhere and keeping it simple.
Thank you, Sharon.
Barry Johnson, now from southern Minnesota. We're here for the 50th convention. 50 years ago, we started building these lists. 50 years we've been doing this. Yes, they've changed a little bit over time, but around us, over the last 50 years, our society has changed. Our generations have changed. We can't keep moving forward with the things that worked 2 and 3 generations ago. My children aren't interested in square dancing because it's too long, too much, too complicated. We need to reposition this activity for the future generations so we can be here 50 years from now.
Thank you, Barry.
No ill will to the
No,
other side.
you want to look to my gun?
Motion to close debate.
Is there a second? That's what I'm supposed to say, they say. Thanks. We have a second. All right, so, sorry, this is not my, that's why I got Debbie, trust me. All right, so we have a second on a motion to close the debate at this point in time. So we have to have, Sergeant at Arms, are you ready? We'd have to have a count. So all in favor of closing the debate at this point in time, you would raise your vote card. If you'd like to continue the discussion, you do not vote in favor. So for right now, are you in favor of closing the discussion? Put your vote card up now, please.
Simmons.
And again, put your vote card down when they point at you. All right, next we will have all opposed. In other words, you would like to continue the discussion. You are able to abstain as well. So all that would like to continue the discussion.
Hey.
Play nice, play nice. Are there any abstentions to this vote? Yeah, put it in the minutes.
1, 2, 3, 5,
6.
7, 8,
Already got it.
9. That's the yes.
That's appropriate, we're just doing my job. All right, the discussion will continue in a 96 to 52 vote with 9 abstentions. We left off over there. I will continue with Mr. Klasper.
Barry Glassberg.
You broke it.
I broke it. What is now known as SSD didn't just come along a few years ago. It's been roughly 2 decades in the formation. And what it was an experiment to see if we could figure out how we might do something differently. And the experiment has been running for a few years now, and it's produced some results that give us information that we can now act on. So some people regard it as a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, it's an experiment. And by the very nature, experiments mean that you get some good results, you get some bad results, you learn from the bad ones, and you build on the good ones. With the work that Ted and his team have done over the last couple of years, they've built a momentum that has been steadily growing, that we're ready for a change. That doesn't happen very often. When you're ready for a change, you can either pull back and say, oh, I'm worried that this change may not work out. But think about what our founding fathers had to do. They were in the same position, they knew something was wrong, they knew they had to do something, but they weren't sure exactly where it was going to go. They were bold. We need to be bold now. We have the momentum, let's seize it. You want this?
Thank you, Mayor. Rich?
All right, it is my turn. I'm Rich Reel from California, Northern California. No, never mind, you timed me. So I have 2 points. Basically, I think, generally religion and Christianity and stuff like that is a little bit sliding down. And there are these new reform, like Christian center kind of churches. But the big overarching organization didn't just like burn all the other churches down and said, hey, we're just going to have these new churches. They had allow the new churches to compete with the old one, which is what I prefer. I'm a little concerned about the loss of long-standing mainstream programs, which could be a destination level in different areas. The difference, to me, is in the conventions and in the big open dances. If the convention halls provide dancing at lower than plus, they may have to decide to have 2 halls, a mainstream hall and an SSD hall, or whatever this new program is going to be called. I can see that from the dancers' point of view, they are voting with their feet. They want plus. If you take a look at any program below plus, it has never really been popular at the, is that it?
All right, thank you, Rich.
Michael Levy, San Francisco. I honestly came in here undecided, on the fence, about which way to go. But I had to kind of look inside. I actually had a really good friend, caller, try to convince me last week to vote no. I understand the concerns of people who are against the proposal. But we really need to do something that's going to save this activity and our community. The problem that people are calling out with the proposal, they're true. This is not a perfect solution. But I have seen that SSD works. SSD has not been used the way it was intended as a standalone, isolated program People have used it as a stepping stone to Plus and literally finished an SSD class and then stuck them on Plus. So that did no benefit, honestly. So what the proposal's trying to do is slow it down so people will dance at this program. SSD or mainstream, whatever we want to call it. I don't love the name of mainstream for the confusion. I understand that point. But we as leaders in this activity need to support this program. It has worked everywhere it's been used. And help slow that rush to Plus. Let people dance to the program, it will happen.
Thank you, Mike. Scott?
Scott Pierce from Fulton, California. I speak in favor of the proposal. And like Michael, I have wavered some. I agree 100% and I support what the EC is trying to do with this and the concept of the proposal, what they're trying to accomplish. I don't think all the details are right. And even Ted has said in some of his presentations, if you don't think it should have the name mainstream, vote it down. If you don't think Plus should be required to have 50 calls, vote it down. I tend to disagree with Ted on that particular point. I would hate to see us take a concept that we approve and that we endorse and vote it down because I don't like the name mainstream. That seems like kind of a silly reason to oppose a concept that I approve. So if you're one of those people, I would encourage you to not think about the details of the proposal, but think about the concept and what they're trying to accomplish.
Smell like we're on fire.
Thank you, Scott.
Doesn't sound like a fire drill.
I'm just gonna hold you until the bells stop ringing. Oh, we're good, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Laura McDaniel from North Shore Squares. You might know us from our videos, Evanston, Illinois. I'm here as the voice of the young caller. Even though I have gray hair, I've been in this activity for less than 10 years. I am part of a group of callers who have grown up in SSD. I've only been in an SSD club. We teach classes at 3 levels: Intro SSD, Fundamentals, and Blue Ribbon, which is an extension as a prep into Plus. It slows things down. We have almost 100 members. And we have been very successful with that program. So I hope that the essence of many of the components of SSD that's great will continue in whatever we call it and however many calls we have. But here's the other thing I want to tell you. Even though I have gray hair, I am 55 years old. I don't have 30 years to learn how to do this. I have a master's degree in teaching, and I am a semi-professional musician, so I bring lots of skills, but I don't have everything that you guys have had for so many years, and I'm not going to get there. But that doesn't mean that I can't be helpful and effective in growing the activity, but you gotta help me. You gotta help me. I can't have multiple programs because it just confuses the dancers, and I need to be able to show that square dance is moving forward and is not what some of the stereotypical pieces could be, though I respect the tradition and I honor where we have come from. It's a big hurdle. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Mickey Braithwaite from overseas, and I started square dance as a kid. And we had a program called Mainstream, and you could dance worldwide. And I would like to see whatever is the outcome, and I'm a strong supporter of this proposal, because we need unity. Whatever is decided should be carried by everyone in this room. And I developed a slogan which I think maybe puts it to a kind of a really meaning. And it is to learn somewhere, but be home everywhere. That means wherever you learn in the world, you can dance everywhere and be welcome. And keeping that in mind, I think this would be a wonderful thing for beginner callers, for the current callers, for the dancers, and new dancers to come.
Thank you, Mickey.
John Marshall, Virginia. I've been on the fence for the entire convention over this earlier. And what I think has swayed me is that, like as Michael pointed out, SSD was designed for something else. In the first place, my understanding was for areas where square dancing didn't exist, that would allow them to get involved in the activity, not be in competition with other clubs in the area. That's what I understand. Now, it has taught us something, however. To me, it turned into a recruiting program for the other programs, for Main Street, and it was used that way. So that there's a message there. It's like, okay, that's been working for them more and more, and so that tells us something. It tells us that the desire for an easier way to get in works. So the fact that we're combining it, you know, we're not talking about adding great burdens, and again, I don't like the division, too many divisions in the activity. We all know that the Rush for Plus or A1 or whatever program it is a real thing. But this would help put somewhat of brakes on that. But we have evidence now, as the activity has been, the SSD has been proving to us that it has value. So if we're going to take that and try to have the unity at the same time, not fractionalizing the answers to many different places, then this would seem to me to be the direction we need to go in.
John?
Thank you. I figured that we're there. I figured we're as close to it as we're going to get. There are other details. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Dusso-Maine. I know we've all had various conversations with our dancers, mixed emotions, mixed feelings, mixed results from those conversations. I look at why do we even have lists in the first place? And for me, it's about trust. When I go to a dance and I call it, I can trust the dancers know the calls that are advertised. The dancers can trust that I, as the caller, am only going to use the calls that are advertised. And I think in order to make this work, that trust has to stay maintained. And this room full of leaders can keep that trust going. Thank you, Mike.
Jeremy Butler, Virginia. How many of you have ever called, and you're sitting there and you're calling, you put out a call and you got that one dancer that just won't move. You just go nowhere. Well, I have a caller friend of mine, and he usually says to those dancers, if you're not sure where you're going, go somewhere. And they have to go somewhere. I can fix you if you go somewhere. If you don't move, I can't do anything with you, right? So the idea is we need this, we need to do something. The call has been given. Go, let's go. Let's go there, and it may not be exactly the right direction, but we can course adjust. It's fine, but we have to go somewhere.
Thank you.
Glenn Rogerson from Austin, Texas. I want my wife back on the dance floor. My wife has physical issues that make it painful for her to dance, and the Rush to Plus has made the floor such that it isn't worth it to her anymore. And we all know that the Rush to Plus has weakened our floors, weakened our mainstream floors, weakened our plus floors, and this isn't the total answer, but it's a good start. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Hold on, I'm just going to ask, is there anybody else at this point? Because if we call the question, then we got to do the whole vote thing again before we do the whole vote thing again, right? Right. Give me a second. Last chance. Okay. First of all, I'd like to point out and thank everybody. You know, we were close to a minute on most of them. Some under, some a little over, but still, I tried to get everybody to get their sentence and thing out of them. So I do appreciate your holding to that for us. Okay. Seeing as nobody else would like to step up to the microphone, here's what we got. Be it resolved that the resolution to update the program policy statement be approved. Sergeant at Arms, to assist with the vote counts, we will start with all in favor. Again, leave your vote card up until you're pointed at, please. All in favor.
Pay attention, South Carolina.
behalf of this is all opposed? Cards up, please. And lastly, anybody that is abstaining?
I got you. I got you.
We got you, Jim.
I got you, Jim.
All right, in a vote of 153 to 14 with 3 abstentions, the motion is approved. As is the case for all of these votes, a ballot will be sent to all voting members to confirm the vote following this convention. So if you change your mind, you'll get something in the mail. Either way, so that will be coming as well. The chair may make some brief remarks. Honestly, I'm just tired of talking. Again, I appreciate everybody, the civility of it. I appreciate the thought behind it. I know it was a lot of decision for all of you, either way. And again, try to get on a committee, let's see what we can make happen. And I appreciate everybody's thoughts on both sides of the coin, so thank you very much.